Hello everyone. We're going to take a look at Unit 3.4b at WAMAP, equations with fractions. So we just looked at equations with decimals, and this time we're going to look at some with fractions. The problems they give us are solving for x, and the first one is 7 halves x plus 1/4 is equal to 5/6. Okay. And the second one, 5/6 x plus 5/12 is equal to 3 plus 5/18 x. Okay, so the first one, we only have a variable on the left side, so that's relatively simple. The second question has variables on both sides, so that'll be a little bit more complicated, but nothing we can't handle, right? So let's take a look at the tablet, and we'll solve this first one. 7 halves x plus 1/4 is equal to 5/6. So when we are analyzing a problem of this sort, we're always wanting to isolate x and keep it on one side and make sure it's positive. So we have a positive x on the left, right? It's 7 halves x, but it's positive. So let's start by first getting rid of this positive 1/4. So we're going to subtract 1/4 from both sides. Subtract 1/4, and then 5/6 minus 1/4. So on the left side, these 1/4, these two will cancel each other out, like matter and antimatter. And then for 5/6 minus 1/4, we need to find a least common denominator. So let's very quickly do a prime factorization. 6 becomes 2 and 3, 4 becomes 2 and 2. Oops. Let's neaten that up just a pinch. Don't want to be too neat, but don't want to be too sloppy either. So prime factorization of 4 is 2 squared, and prime factorization of 6 is 2 times 3. So we're going to use the buffet approach. You have to try some of everything that's offered up on the buffet, but you're going to take the bigger samples of each one. So we've got 2 squared times 3 will be our least common multiple. And 3 times 2 squared. 2 squared is 4, times 3 is 12. So 12 will be a good number for us. We have something over 12 minus something else over 12. And in order to increase, what do we multiply 6 by to get 12? We multiply that by 2. So we multiply the top and the bottom of this fraction by 2. We get 2 times 5, that's 10. 10 over 2, so 5/6 is equal to 10/12, and then 6 times 2 would be 12, right? So we knew that denominator. And to 4 multiplied by what gives us 12? Well, 3 is the answer. So we're going to multiply the numerator and denominator by 3. And 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 4 is 12. So now it's 10/12 minus 3/12, and now we can perform this operation. Remember, addition and subtraction always require alignment somewhere, and with fractions, you have to have the same denominator. So we used these equivalents. 2 over 2 is the equivalent of 1. So we're multiplying this fraction effectively, multiplying it by 1, which doesn't change the value, just changes the format. And same with this, 3 over 3 is also equal to 1. We're multiplying 1 over 4 by 1. And in this format, it gives us 3/12. So 10 minus 3 gives us 7 over 12. Okay, so we know that whatever's left on this side will be equal to 7/12. So we have 7 halves x. So we just continue taking the inverse operation. So what's happening to the x? It's being multiplied by 7 over 2. So we are going to divide. We're going to divide both sides by 7 over 2. So let's write it up this way. And some people say division of fractions doesn't exist because you use the keep, change, flip method. So we're going to divide these. 7 halves divided by 7 halves. That's going to turn that into a reciprocal. We're going to have 7 halves times the inverse of 7 halves, which is 2 over 7. And this will give us 1, right? We could do the canceling out thing. Let's change colors again. 7 and 7 can be divided by each other to leave 1 over 1, and then 2 and 2 divided by each other is 1 over 1. So 1 times 1 is 1. over 1, and that's equal to 1. And so 1x, which is equal to x. All right. So on the other side, we have 7 over 12 divided by 7 halves. So let's rewrite that here. We've got 7 over 12 times the inverse of 7 halves, which is, oops, so I'm going to change my color, 2 over 7. All right, and then we just multiply this out like regular fraction multiplication. That gives us 7 times 2 is 14. 12 times 7 is 84. We have 2 even numbers here. So we know this fraction can be reduced at least one time. So let's do that and see what we end up with. Change the colors again. Let's go to orange. All right, so 14 over 84. We're going to divide the top and the bottom by 2. So we get 7 over 42. 7 over 42. These are both divisible by 7, right? So 7 divided by 7 is 1, and 42 divided by 7 is 6. So when we come back to this, x is equal to 1 over 6. So if we were to plug this 1/6 back into where the x appears here, 7 halves times 1/6 plus 1/4 is equal to 5 over 6. Let's plug this in. Let's give it a circle. 1/6 and see how we did. And you can put your fraction in this way. 1/6 will work, and it displays it. So if that looks like the answer we had on the tablet, awesome. The other way you can input this answer is to choose fraction and then put in a 1 and then use your arrow key to go to the bottom and put in a 6. And then with fractions, you need to step out if you had any other operations. Let's go ahead and see how we did. 1/6, we got a green check. Awesome. So try this on your own. You're just going to try to isolate the variable and do whatever you have to do to get there. All right, so the second one, we've got variables on both sides. So this could be a little more interesting. Have a couple more steps, but it is not that much more difficult than what we just did. So let's take a look and see how that looks. 5/6x plus 5/12 is equal to 3 plus 5/18 x. All right. So 5/6x is 15/18. So this is the bigger x. I'm going to keep the x on the left. And 5/18 x, this is the one we will do away with. So we want to get the numbers on the right side and the x values on the left side. So let's start by subtracting 5/12 from both sides, and we're just going to do 3 minus 5/12, right? And 5/12 minus 5/12 gives us 0, so that leaves 5/6x on the left. And then 3 minus 5/12, in order to do this, we need to put 3 over 1, and then we need to find the least common multiple of 1 and 12. And so 12 would be a great number here. 1 goes into 12 times. So if we multiply the top and the bottom times 12 and this times 12, we will get 36 over 12 minus 5 over 12. That's equal to 31 over 12 plus 5/18 x is going to be equal to 5/6 x. Okay. So now what we need to do is subtract 5/18 x from both sides. Let's put that in. We'll go to a new color. Minus 5/18 x. And these two go away, leaving 31/12. And on this side, we have 5/6 x minus 5/18 x. So what we need to do here is convert this fraction 5/6 to 5/18. And in order to produce 18 from 6, we have to multiply it by 3. So let's multiply the top and the bottom of this fraction by 3. And we'll get 15/18 x minus 5/18 x, which will give us 10/18 x. And then we just have to reduce this fraction 10/18. We can divide the top and the bottom by 2. Let's do that. And we will get 5 over 9. So we have 5/9 x on the left, and that's equal to 31 over 12. 5/9 x is equal to 31 over 12. So at this point, what we need to do, we ask ourselves what's happening with x. X is being multiplied by 5/9. So we're going to divide it by 5/9. And we can just write it this way as an expedient. But we know that any fraction, when we actually work this, 5/9 will become inverted and we'll multiply it by this, which will make it 1, right? So these are going to cancel out, and then we have to divide this side by 5 over 9, which is the same as 31 over 12 times 9 over 5. And we can do some pre-reducing. We can reduce this by, let's just change, let's go to blue. We'll divide 9 by 3 and get 3, and 12 by 3 and get 4. Then we're dealing with smaller numbers. And then 5 and 31, I think they're both prime numbers, so they don't have any factors at all, except 5 and 31. So then we can multiply these together, and that should be our x value. X is going to be equal to 93 over 20. And 93 looks like another, no, it's not prime. 31 will go in here 3 times. But 20 has only factors of what, 2, 4, 5, and 10. And 93 has just 3 and 31 as its factors. So they are co-prime. And let's see how we're supposed to enter this. I think we just enter this as a fraction. So let's try it. 93 / 20. Let's see how that does. Okay, and that is the correct value. So try a similar question, see how you do. And if you get into trouble, message me through the app, through WAMAP, and we can meet up and talk.